What are the things that is being predestined by God, and what are the things that are not being predestined by God?
In the predestination, kuya, personally, maybe being chosen, time and place actually that's given already at this moment, during our time. But necessary qualities and requisite characters are something that relies on our responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ancestors, we don't know, it could be given, but these three and four are really very like our personal responsibility. It cannot be done by, nah, it cannot be predestined by God Himself. That's why it makes this one conditional. All these qualities being a central figure cannot be fully realized without us. I mean, in the most, the two qualifications that requires most of our POR is the three and four. I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the others we cannot just chose to be chosen. We cannot choose to be from the lines of good ancestors and have done accomplishments. We cannot do that ourselves. But achieving a requisite character is really the one you have mentioned a little bit, the actualization of what we learn. Necessary qualities are the ones that we can enhance, that is innate in us, that we may rediscover when we know the truth. That's how I think I see it that way.
Okay, so any other in addition to what Ate Sylvia said? What are the things that is being predestined by God, and what are the things that are not predestined by God?
Also, Kuya, maybe the things that we may experience, like the difficulties, it's not predestined by God. It
Mm-hmm.
may be one of the necessary requirements for us to be able to harness our character in a way and learn more, understand His heart. Yeah, but it's not God's predestination, I believe so, because God always predestines something that's really good for human beings. Just like He wanted to be happy, He doesn't want His children to be sad. It so happened that we are on this time, that we are the fruit of the human fall. That's why we have to go through those difficulties and challenges. So that is something that God does not predestine at all. I don't really think so.
Any additional? Going once, going twice, going thrice. So let's call roll call. Let's do by alphabet.
Oh,
Okay, Jill.
okay.
Okay.
Yes, for I just want to like what Mom Savior,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken, just said. Yes. So like human portion or responsibilities, like people can say, oh, when you die today, let's just say examples, like you get drunk and you drink liquor, like you get drunk and walking on the street, God forbid, and car hits you. So some people will tell you that, oh, it's the time that God predestined me to die. So no one can, it's not a mistake that I went and drink and get on the road and car hits me for me to die. So human portion of responsibility is not like predestined. Your own mistakes that you made, it's not what God destined for you. It's just a little one I want to add. Thank you for.
Okay, thank you, Jill. That's really a clear uh, one of the real example of not being predestined by God, because that is already the person knows already that he should not drink if she cross, if he cross, but still, okay. So that is a common example that we can give for the predestination. Okay, that is not being predestined by God. Okay. Any other additional input? How about other brothers and sisters? Yes, Ara?
Yes, Kuya Randy. Good evening, brothers and sisters.
Hello,
I
good
hope everyone
evening.
can hear me. Yeah.
Yep.
So I have an on and off connection here. Sorry. Um, it's just for me, it's a bit of a reflection that with our topic, once again, we are reminded of humans' portion of responsibility, and that but with the graph that Kuya Herwin shows us, it was only 5%, but it's actually a total of 100% of our efforts that we have to complete um, for us to assist God to on His will to establish the kingdom of heaven on earth. Now, um, with destinations, it this topic reminds me that not all bad things in life is God's will. So, and it's only personally for me, it's only in divine principle that this is being discussed. That um, God has a responsibility, and the human beings also has a responsibility to complete before um, what do you call this? God's will be fulfilled if only a human can complete his portion of responsibility. So yeah, it's actually a wake up call as well for me. That's all, Kuya. Thank you.
Thank you, Ara. Yeah, it's really important, right? That we have to identify what are the things that are being predestined by God and what are the things that are not being predestined by God. Because knowing those things, we will know what are the things that we'll be doing so that we can respond to God's calling, right? And
Yes,
once we can
true.
respond towards God's calling, that's the time that we can stop the influence of or not stop the influence, but we can be uh, eliminate those things that is leading us towards giving us misfortune, and not those things that is blocking us to respond towards God's will. Because whether we like it or not, although we have a choice, there is only one choice that we have to follow. That is for us to enjoy everything together with God. Am I right?
Right. Very right.
So God gave us a choice, but the choice that we have to is to enjoy things that is being created by God, centering on His purpose, not centering on the individual purpose. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the
true.
only thing that we needed to do. And once we can do that, that's the time that we can be responded to God's calling.
Sweet,
That's
sweet.
why even Father, okay, when God called through Father, only during the time that He determined that if nobody, if I will not accept this, there might be somebody who will accept it, but there is a possibility that they will fail. But
Very
Father said,
true.
if I will accept this, at least I can have that determination na I will not let God down.
Wow. Yes,
So
yes.
when we talk about predestination, it is our commitment to respond towards God's calling.
Aju.
Okay? Yan. So, any more?
Yeah, also kuya, even if we will not say, for example, because maybe not everyone like our two parents, but this is, yeah, a wake up call. But yeah, God's predestination, whether we will like it or not, because God's purpose of creation is he already said it, and it has to really happen. So even if we're not going to participate, still it's going to happen. The only thing that is not going to happen immediately. That's why it's an urgent call for all of us now. How are we going to do our portion of responsibility? That's the message of this moment. Yeah. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, actually, that's really
That's
true.
why
Even
yeah.
with or without us, the kingdom of heaven will be established. But what God
Yes.
wanted is no one should be left behind.
So we have to participate.
That's why even True Mother is really doing everything uh, in order to let people know, true parents already here, the principle that will guide us to become one with God's already here. And the only thing that we needed to do is to participate to become part of the cause of God. And how can we do that?
By
That's the banner of the Rally of Hope, right?
yeah,
Interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally universal
values, the
universally
universally
shared
shared
Shared.
values.
values.
Yes. But
Once we
it's
can
only
embody that, that's the time that we can respond to God's calling. Do you think so?
yeah, and then it's also very necessary, Kuya. Now we really have to, even if we do will like respond. I think the very manifestation of it is we have to join the blessing. We have to receive the
Yeah.
blessing. We have to engraft ourselves to the true parents' lineage. That would really like give us certificate to somehow become more qualified. It doesn't mean though na if you are single you cannot do it, but it is more. I mean, I think we learn it in the principle of creation. Now it's very necessary to reach the three great blessings, and then the only way for us to be able to reach the third blessing is to prepare first, and then finally have to multiply. And that's the only way. There's only at the present moment everybody almost many multiplied, but we have not reached the first blessing. That's why this is what we are going to. This is the very ground where we are going to remind ourselves and how are going to prepare for this to finally be a participant, a true participant for this calling, to substantiate this finally, put it into our daily life action. Yeah, something like that. So we have to receive the blessing.
Yeah, and the foundation for that is we must be aligned towards God's principle. That's why we needed to study thoroughly the divine principle. Study, practice it, and embody it.
Actually
And that
po.
is a challenge to us actually.
Yes, kasi ang
Us
hirap maglulong.
who already know the principle um, ahead of those people who are attending the Rally of Hope now. Who will educate them with the principle? Will True Mother do it?
It would be us.
Would
Eh,
be the
nag-volunteer ako.
presidents? Would be, di ba?
Yeah.
It's not other than us. That's why what we needed to do is to fast track our training and development.
Ajo.
So, yeah, that is a great challenge to us members of the movement actually.
Okay, okay.
How much we wanted to really give them the right perspective so that they can really substantialize the messages that they have learned, they have heard from True Mother. Because without backing up the activities of True Mother, even though they will receive the blessing, still that will just be a conditional, because we all know that we have the 5% portion of responsibility. Actually, do you know that it's not already 5%, but it's just 3% because true parents already did the 2%.
Po.
With the Messiah, we are only doing 3% portion of responsibility. And
Yes,
what is
po.
that 3% portion of responsibility?
That is
Okay? To become the educator of the principal, to become the multiplier of the blessing,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so that we can build our own tribal chunilgo. It's
Ah,
not
Jew.
even for God. It's not even for true parents, but it is for our own, so that we can contribute. Aju?
Ah, Jew.
True.
So that's the, for me, that's the essence of the predestination. Eh. Do you think so, brothers and sisters?
Agree.
That's
Yes.
why um, True Mother is always challenging us. I remember when the true grandchildren, before they receive the blessing, True Mother sent them for 7 days purely divine principle seminar. And then after they finished the 7 days divine principle seminar, that's the only time that they said, True Mother said, you can now join the blessing. So this is really studying the predestination is really great challenge for us as members. Okay, challenge for us how much we fulfill our 3% portion of responsibility so that we can respond to God and through parents. And these are the avenues that we are opening now so that we can be together, we can work together, and like what I've said, no one should be left behind. Aju,
Aju.
True.
Jew.
any more? Any more? Any? How about from other brothers and sisters? Can we hear from Kenji? Hi, Kenji. Hi, you're on duty. Okay. Another. How about Jinky? Hello?
Lang, sir, kasi maingay po po dito.
Maingay pa dyan?
Ako po may ano.
Hmm.
Okay na po. Yeah, about the info, hello, good evening po sa lahat. Good evening to our brothers and sisters.
Hello,
Yeah,
good evening.
hello po. I think, yeah, the topic today about the predestination. I think I just now din po yung sinabi niyo po about the, like, yeah, how taking our responsibility as of now, of course. Even though, for example, like how by the time that true father, even though true father knows that is the chosen as a Messiah, but he still, yeah, he is worried about how we can fulfill it. So, yeah. So, parang sa atin din, how also we could accept the, like, yeah, God's calling to us as a chosen people who know about true parents. So, how could also we fulfill our portion of responsibilities that given to us until the end. Yeah. Yan lang po. I think that's all po. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jinky. How about others? So it's always talks about our portion of responsibility, right? How we can fulfill. And so True Mother said, no stopping. Right?
Promise talaga po. Grabe. Sobrang great challenge ng ano. Actually this predestination, sir ba? Always, I mean now I'm just being reminded again about True Father's words when he said, a time will come na the even the Unification Church would not the necessary. What would remain is the tradition and the education that our true parents had taught, because it would not be like church, it would be family system, yeah, something like tribal messiah. It would be like that. I think I didn't understand much at the time when I used to hear. I mean, when the first time that I hear of it among, I mean, one of our leaders mentioned of it like that. But I think it's sinking in right now to me. Yeah, this is the really the like the call for us to be greatly reminded about this, that the Father has not mentioned of anything that's not going to happen, and it can only happen if we all ourselves among us, all brothers and sisters, we here being around, yeah, in this 21 days, would have a deep reflection in ourselves, and how can we be able to carry it out. How are we going to become an educator? How can we be able to let them know the tradition when we do not know anything? So yeah, that one is kind of like, yeah, predestined by God for us to really push forward. Yeah, we are the ones who is being called to, like, at least try. If not really commit ourselves, at least we will try. That's the like parang duha-duha lugar na nga ano. At least we will try our best. But trying is failing, no? We'll do our best to really learn, and become an educator somehow. This is the only legacy I think we can also contribute to Heavenly Parents, true parents' victories. Because just like you said, sir, we only have 3% portion of responsibility to do, and that is it. And this is this one has reminded me greatly about those words your father said. Yeah, thank you again.
Okay, how about Maricel? Hi, Maricel.
Nasa meeting po kami kuya, naka-on lang po yung mic ko.
Naka-meeting.
Sorry
Sige,
po.
sige.
Sorry po.
Okay, thank you, Maricel. How about
Thank you po.
Chiribel?
All right, good evening, brothers and sisters.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, so the topic that we had discussed tonight is about predestination, and this topic is our portion of responsibility. Yet, true parents are already laid the foundation not for this 5% of responsibility, and then there is 3% left for us to do as individual, um, or called or chosen individual to do or to contribute for the accomplishment of the fulfillment of um God's um ideals, no, ideal world. And then um it is very actually, we as chosen one, we are very uh perhaps lucky because um we are chosen. No, so we should be thankful, we should be grateful that God chose us, and then we should do our part, not only just try but do the best that we can in order for us, for our heavenly parents and true parent to be happy, and to finally realize the the kingdom of heaven that we were longing. No, our ancestors been longing for this to happen, so they are, since they are already in the spirit world. No, I would like to share an experience before. Do any one of you believe of those, like, spirits who's gonna possess somebody like that? I don't know if some of you have experienced, but I have a friend before who is being possessed by spirits, and then at that time, since I am from a Seventh Day Adventist church, so we do not believe on such kind of thing. No, so uh, there it happens that this spirit we think is a good spirit because he's singing like Amazing Grace. Does any one of you know about Amazing Grace and like Amazing Grace like that? And then after singing that song, because it was a church camp, we bring this possessed girl, my friend, which is my friend, to the church. And then this spirit, using my friend's body, sing the Amazing Grace. And then after the song, he said that you people, or you, he is like talking to all of us around them, saying that you should be very grateful, like in like Bisaya no na term. Swerte mo nga mga tawo nga naa sa kalibutan tungod kay naa pa sa inyo ang kaluwasan. So it means we are very fortunate in this living, as we are living in the earth today, because we still have a chance to be saved. That is what this spirit have said to us, which is actually a very like, to me, it's very heart touching. It is very, and because they they in the spirit world, those who are already in the spirit world are maybe because they regretted something in their life when they were here in the earth living, no, in the physical earth, a physical world. And then still they are hoping that someday they will be saved. So it, and their salvation depends on those individual who are here in this world today. And those people are us. No, we are being chose to do this responsibility today. So if we will not do this now, the salvation or the restorations of God ideals will be prolonged. And we do not know when is that day. Diba? So as we hear this, the divine principle, the truth that is being revealed to us by true parents, we should really do study. We should continue to embody like what our what Kuya Randy have mentioned, no? And Kuya Herwin, that we should do our individual portion of responsibility heartily, uh, like we are giving the whole, no, the all of us, or the uh, everything that we have without reservations. And that we, and in that way, though even though it is very difficult, we know that this, it is not an easy way for us to go, because we have to make, you know, the our other sacrifices. Diba? Like before we meet the movement, we already have our own directions, like plans. We were going to do this, we're going to do that, we're, which are only in the circular world. But we do not know that there are also our ancestors that are guiding us to become successful in the circular world, and they are also waiting for us to do this portion of responsibility, because in this way we could also save both, not only ourselves but our ancestors and our descends, our next generation. So I think that is all I could share. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Chiribel. Yeah. So it's really important to fulfill our responsibility, right? No matter what, our responsibility matters most. Aju?
True.
I do.
So, uh, To continue with our reflection, let's reflect onto this one. In what way we can fulfill our portion of responsibility, or in what, how can we, okay, as individual, what are the things that I needed to do, or the things that I can do so that I can fulfill my responsibility. Okay, let's listen to Joseph. Hi, Joseph.
Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening. Pardon.
Reflect on what are the things that in what way I can fulfill my responsibility, or how can I fulfill my responsibility.
For me, for me, um, how I can fulfill my portion of responsibility is by first is doing my best in any situations, like handling myself on uh, the external things which is happening, and I mean the response in the environment, because for me environment affects affects our personal decisions in life. So without this control, so maybe I will lost in my responsibility, just like doing God's commandments and God's will, and especially in the time of true parents, following his last will of testament. I mean following from Jesus, what do you call that, from Jesus time, that he, because in the time of Jesus, he didn't fulfill his responsibility yet. All his plans were not in, what do you call, were not clearly completed. So he asked through parents, especially through father, to fulfill that. And yes, with 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 Jesus guidance, so through father take that path. And for that, from Jesus guidance to true father's guidance, and yes, I'll do my best to really support and to follow the things that could really help me and could um, guide myself to any situations. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Thank you for that sharing. So
Yes,
in
sir.
addition, what are the practical things that we can do? Let's hear from, yes. Uh, are you, do you want to say something, Ara? Hello. How about other? Let's listen from Oliver.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Hello, good evening.
So, yeah, once again, sorry we're late. But practical in practicality, for us to be able to do our portion of responsibility, in order to fulfill our 3% responsibility, still, even though it's 3%, we always keep in mind that for us, as humans, it's still 100% on our part. So it doesn't mean 3% na lang. So I can relax or probably just do 3% of my effort. That's not true. So for me to be able to do that is just like what Kuya you mentioned earlier, is to share it to other people. Actually, the best way to do it is what uh, you guys are doing right now through the Divine Principle Seminar. UPTA is actually one of the best way to like accelerate um, accelerate the mission on uh, multiplying the divine principle to everybody, most especially since in our times um, there are still other people who do not believe in God or still believes in and still waiting for the second coming until now. So I think it's just not just us, it's not just me, but everyone else knows someone who is still waiting for Jesus Christ or the second coming, someone who is still waiting for the Messiah, someone who is still not sure what the purpose of life is, or why do we even exist here, and why is there kingdom of heaven, why is there hell. So all of those questions would be answered if only they know the divine principle. That's why actually for me, being able to lecture, having the, even though you are not that good in lecturing, or you say that I'm not that person who who can lecture, actually that's not true. Everybody actually, according to true father himself, has to be able to witness, has to, even though let's say you're not that good in speaking in English or explaining yourself, but through your effort and through your heart, being able to share to your friends, to your office mates or family members about the principle. That's one way to actually help in the providence. As for me, I try to, whenever I have office mates, I actually, my classmates, I even bring them to the centers before. That was way, I still remember way back in Quiapo Center. Even though it looks like a house, that's the best judgment. Every time I invite someone, they judge the place, the environment. Why is it like this? This looks like a house. That's that's what they say. This doesn't look like a seminary or an organization, But when they learn about the divine principle, um, they will actually know that we really have something precious, something valuable that no other religion, denomination, or any um, any philosophical organizations can explain to them very easily. So for me, that's one way. Of course, I also agree with what sister mentioned earlier about having a family, being able to do it as a couple, because that is really the purpose. That's the end game. Eh, just like Marvel, the end game is really being able to produce your own spiritual children. Not just your spiritual children in lecturing, and also your actual spiritual and physical children. That's one way to also do it, our portion of responsibility. It's so easy not to do it. Actually, for me, there are so many times, countless of times, wherein you can just don't do your responsibility, and or deny the principle when especially when you are with people who doesn't have principle. But it's like what somebody mentioned in the chat. uh, the providence, the restoration will always be there, with or without me or us as an individual, but you are actually contributing to prolonging it. So that's what we always think of. Nakakatakot siya kasi someday in the spirit world, uh, when you when you are there and you judge yourself, and you will see all the events in your life. Um, there are two things that you will see there the sin of commission, all the sins that you had, and the sin of omission, wherein all the things you did not do. When you just probably felt like not doing it. So for me, if I'm in that position right now, um, I really would like to. That's why I want to attend the Divine Principle seminar as well. Both of us, our couple, are really learning a lot. Every session, we also discuss it after. Sometimes if there are things we don't understand, we search for it. Or something that's not clear because we want to be able to share it properly. So I think that's the practical side for us. So we can people can be very judgmental, but still if they see our hearts, you know, there are countless of times wherein I hear feedback. Ba't ganun yung lecturer? Bakit parang hindi naman marunong mag-explain? Or saya naman to. Or ano pa ba yun? Basta ang dami. But still, sometimes I feel offended for not for myself but also for the one who's doing his best or her best doing the lecture, judging, not judging the thought or the lecture, but the person or probably the environment. So I really am offended with I hate that part, but that's why we want to do our best, to be able to uh, probably become at least presentable, and then other people will parang maengganyo sila na more and then invite more people. So ayun lang, practice more pa para sa amin. Sa Cavite, we're just so lucky here because there are so many elders here sa Cavite who can guide us with the divine principle. So we can just probably ask any elder anytime. But still, this seminar that we have is very important kasi it's more detailed kasi tsaka especially it's online, so we can ask directly kuya or anyone who's doing the lecture. That's it. I think it's too long na. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Oliver. So that's how Oliver wanted to the practical way of how we can fulfill his responsibility. How about Ariel? Hi, Ariel.
Good evening po.
Hello. Good
Others.
evening.
So, for the predestination, for me, it means we as human beings have our own portion of responsibility in the outcome of whatever will happen to us in the future. And yeah, so God will like instruct us and inform us what
One
we
to
do.
one
And
black XL.
like for me, if we follow Him, we end up in a good state. But if not, we end up in misery. So to become God's children, I think we need, yeah, as everyone said, we need to fulfill our 5% portion of responsibility. And for me, being here in this seminar is stepping stone on like fulfilling my portion of responsibility because yeah, because I'm new and I like knowing God really wants us to do and what God is really the God's providence. Yeah, I think this is my stepping stone on fulfilling my 5% portion of responsibility. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, actually, the first step is for you to understand what is really God's plan, and that is you can only do that by studying the principle, right? Aju. So thank you very much, Ariel, for that for your reflection. Sino pa ba? Jonathan. Hello. Are you there?
Ay, akin na yun. Akin na yan.
Going once, going twice. Okay, seems that Jonathan is not there. How about Larissa?
Hello po, good evening. Can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry about that. I actually haven't got a time to listen to the topic because we were late, of course, and I'm sorry for being late. Yeah, just
Are
like
you?
what Oliver explained, yeah, we just finished our 3 day ceremony. Yeah. Anyway, regarding with the topic, I guess based on what I've heard or what I've understand, we have our 3%, 3% responsibility. Yeah, for me, I guess um I'll just for my responsibility, I'll just try to help and help other people understand about true parents and what else? True father. Yeah, and also maybe since I'm still new to this situation, yeah, it's actually I still don't have any idea or lots of ideas. That's why this is also helpful for me. The DP lecture is also helpful. Yeah, but of course for me, I guess I'll just share my knowledge regarding what I've learned from these topics and also help my family understand. And yeah, of course, the first thing I should do is to share these to my family, of course, first. And then after that, well, if I still have a chance and I I can still um have
Oh,
enough
yeah.
time, I will also give no, I will share everything I've learned to other people also because yeah, that's also part of our responsibility and also as a couple, so we should do our best just to help them and let them know regarding with this. That's all. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So for those, actually you can review the topic if you will go to Universal Principal Training Academy channel in YouTube. You can search that and then you can review. Okay, so we'll be posting the recorded video in YouTube through that channel, Universal Principal Training Academy YouTube channel. Okay, thank you, Larissa. So
Thank you
it's really
po.
important to have a deeper knowledge or to discover more, right? Discover more so that you will know what are the how can you act in accordance to God's plan and God's purpose. Okay, so thank you and let's listen to who else? Okay, Grex.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, yeah.
Um, I am, well, I can say I'm very happy and grateful, especially to all your sharing. Um, for me kasi, I also give this part of my lecture or part of where I share this chapter to participants, and I'm not sure how I can translate this, but I also have the saying na nasa Diyos ang awa pero nasa tao ang gawa. That for me is already indicating 95% God's portion of responsibility. And to complete it, True Parents has already paved the way for the 2%. And now the 3% is for us na lang to do. Many times God has given a lot of opportunities for us men, or let's say human beings, to do our part. But as we see and read the history, we cannot deny that there are a lot of failures. Um, but the word there also is that we cannot just point fingers to someone, considering that you are also human. That's the very reason why we say, nasa Diyos ang awa, pero nasa tao ang gawa. So it's most likely that, and also the question there of Sir Randy was, um, if I gonna think it through, uh, in action about the lecture, um, well, one practical that I can answer is I'll do fundraising and I'll do witnessing, because those are the two main activities of a unification, is to fully understand what is God's heart. How can you feel God's heart? And also, the path where true parents have gone through. And so that's the very reason why we have those practical um, lessons in life. So fundraising, witnessing, and but then again, it boils down to me as a human. What can I do, or how can I accomplish, and the practical side of doing my portion of responsibility. Um, in my situation, or in my capacity, I can we only assess that what I can do is, of course, to help. What I can do is to also share, and what I can also do now is how to act the things that I've learned. Um, Honestly, up to now, it's really somewhat difficult in some way, but through prayers, meditation, and fully understand the life, especially the life of father and the life of mother, what they have been through. Um, Bottom line, they also now saying that they should not only be the true parents of humankind, but we should too ourselves. So changing our blood lineage. Many things yet to share, but I think that's all I can say at this very moment. Thank you. Thank you, Sir Randy.
Okay, thank you, Rex. I remember what during one of the interreligious, it's UTI conference, when True Father was being asked, "Are you the Messiah?" Okay. Many people expecting that Father say that I am the Messiah, but Father said, "I am not the only Messiah. I just started it. Each one of us should become the Messiah." Okay, so actually that's really a, how do you call that? That's really very strong message of True Father to all humankind, fulfilling our portion of responsibility, because we are destined to make our tribe, make our lineage be connected to God and true parents. That's why if we will look at history, we are the fruit of history, and the only thing that we can do is to, how do you call that? Kumbaga yung sinasabi na kung hindi ako, sino? Kung hindi ngayon, kailan? Aju?
Joe.
Aju, brothers and sisters?
Adyo po.
Oh.
Okay, mahaba pa palang oras natin. Kala ko tapos na tayo.
Yeah, actually, this is just na meron akong parang maybe for the sake of discussion, and some actually siguro para lang to satisfy my curious mind.
Mhm.
Because we're talking about predestination of human beings, so we see this. There are like five qualifications to become the central figure, right? And of course, if you look at it from true father's point of view, from standpoint, true father is really qualified for this. But just like, for example, what if, just what if, I, for a person, does not come from a chosen people, for example, and I don't have the ancestral line with good accomplishments, just for example. But if and when I can fulfill my portion of responsibility, like enhancing my the qualities in me because knowing the principle or knowing the truth, and if I could have like reach to certain level to like having a response, I mean fulfilling like achieving a character which could qualify me to become one. Yeah, would it it would be would it be possible that I, for a person, not I'm not literally referring to myself, can become a central figure then?
True parents already declared that we are now the central figure. Because after we inherited the blessing, after we received the blessing, we are already the Messiah of our tribe. So there are so many central. There is a cosmic central figure, national central figure, tribal central figure, and family central figure.
Okay.
So these are the levels of central figures that we have. And after we receive the blessing, the our position is to become the central figure of our tribe. That's why True Father said the final mission of all best couple is to do tribal messiah. Because Father cannot go down to our tribe, but we are the one uh, being raised by True Father to connect our tribe to God. That's why we are said to be tribal messiah. And now we can pray in our own name, right?
Yes.
So that means we are now in the position of becoming the central figure. No matter you are cut, you came from the chosen nation or not, but we are already being declared by True Father as the inheritor of the Messiah, the position of True Father in our own tribe, and to create our own lineage,
Yeah. Thank you,
God-centered
Kuya.
lineage. Okay?
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Kuya. The very reason why
Okay.
I asked this is because, maybe because many of us here, of course, I'm not included, haven't had received the blessing yet. So I just wanted us to like give more value on that. That even if we may not be from the chosen nation, just like our Randy said, and may not have the ancestral line way back with our own ancestors, but having received the blessing, indeed, would really, as long as we can, because we are now in the present time, and knowing the truth would somehow enhance our qualities, our innate qualities, and through the truth we will be able to embody it and somehow reach a certain character that really what God requires us to become. So receiving the blessing, and then receiving the blessing, though conditional, we have to really go through because we first generation has to really fulfill the 3 days ceremony. Later on would be discussed after we get receive the blessing. So I'm sorry, Kuya. I'm just but I want that to be clarified to all of us so that we can have a deeper understanding and preparation to really receive the blessing. That's why.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome and thank you as well for opening that one. And also in line with that, it's really important that we have to think that after we learn the principle and after we receive the principle, actually chosen becoming a chosen person is not coming from a nation but responding to the principle, accepting the principle itself as a way of transformation. That's the beginning point, and ultimately receiving the blessing. That's why if we will come to look at the end point of the principle is receive all of us who study the principle should receive the blessing, because that's the only way in order for us to completely inherit through parents. Okay, so actually, later on, if you will be if we will be discussing this in UPTA, there will be more deeper discussion regarding this one. Okay. So how about our lecturers? Let's listen to our lecturers. Let's start with Kuya Julius. Hello, Kuya Julius.
Hello, good evening
Good
everyone.
evening, Kuya.
Good
Yung ano ko,
evening.
okay lang yung internet.
Okay, yeah.
Okay lang.
I can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay. I think very important yung we truly understood the principle and practice the principle in our day-to-day life. Uh, Very important yung artistic connection. It is because that is our driving force. You can overcome difficulties if you have this artistic relationship with God and through parents. So I think kasi before I have many weakness like in fundraising, fasting like that. But because I developed that artistic connections with our true parents, so I can overcome everything, hardships and anything. I deny myself because of that. So I developed that artistic connections through participation with yung practical like fundraising, yeah, witnessing. So from that you can understand the heart of God, the heart of our true parents, the heart of our Lord Jesus Christ. So now we have clear responsibility as blessed couples to fulfill our tribal mission. So we have to, yeah, we are. I'm grateful that I'm part of UPTA because I think that's my missing link. Because I don't experience actually lecturing in my mission. So more on fundraising, witnessing, tungil modo, instructors, teaching like that. So now uh, I have this training with UPTA. So that's my best asset. That from that I could guide, yeah, my one of the factor that I could really understand the heart of my tribes. And from that I can more committed because from that also I can understand the heart more, the heart of our heavenly parent and the heart of our true parents. So I think, yeah, the more important thing is that artistic connection with God and true parents. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kuya Julius. So, yeah, point is uh, strong connection, no? Because once you have artistic connection, that will develop a bond, okay? Either quadruple band or the strongest band in the whole universe. Okay, thank you, Kuya Julius. How about si Ate Relina? Ay, Althea pala nandito, hindi pala si Ate Relina. Nakamute ka, te.
Oo nga, Althea nakalagay. Okay.
Oo, hindi pala si Ate
Pinalitan
Relina.
niya. Sorry. Anyway, um, pwede bang magkwento na lang ako tungkol sa CEO, yun, yung tungkol sa in the 90s, di ba? Merong tinatawag na CEO, di ba? Remember that, Sir Randy? CEO.
Chosen one.
Chosen
Ano?
One.
Oh, yeah, the seven stuff
Oo,
and the chosen ones. Okay.
yung Chosen One. Di ba? You're being chosen
Okay.
one.
Yes.
Yun. Tinatawag nila CEO. When I, when I was new in the center, in the movement, uh, me and Eva are new in the, kasi we are twin sisters eh. Twin sisters talaga kami. So Eva and I are, we considered ourselves twin sisters of, twin daughters of ano. Kaya lang, fraternal twin kami. Kasi hindi kami magkamukha, di ba? Isang payat at isang malusog, di ba? Isang sexy sa isang malusog. So, ayun. There is we have a visitor, international visitor in the headquarters, and we haven't been in the headquarters. Uh, we just attend. We are always attending in the center, in the Intramuros Center, and then they said, and we always attend Sunday service in Intramuros Center, yung student center sa Intramuros. So, at that time, there are two centers in Intramuros. One is student center, and one is, I don't know the other one, the Marine Center and the Herald Center. There are two at that time. Before, there is also another center near Bulletin, yung Bulletin
Manila
building.
Bulletin. Yes.
Manila Bulletin.
Oo.
But then during the time we have we are new in the center, there is only the Marine Center and the Herald Center. And then and then when so we arrive at the center before the Sunday service, and it was written in the door that to all COs, please proceed to headquarters, and because we have visitor internal. It's Reverend San Munli, San Munli.
Yang Hunli.
San Munli.
Sang Hunli. Yeah.
So
Dr. Sang Hunli.
Dr. San Munli. Parang it's like that. And then so paano yan? Hindi naman natin, we don't know where actually we haven't been through really in the headquarters at that time. So although we have siguro for about 4 months already we have been attending, but then we don't know. And then later as we so we decided to go home, and then we have on our way home, we have an old member, a student, of course. Nasalubong namin siya. Sabi niya gano'n. Ate, saan kayo pupunta? Sabi sa amin. Saan kayo pupunta? Kasi, wala daw Sunday service kasi meron daw bisita, international visitor sa center. Sabi niya gano'n. Di punta tayo, dun ay sa headquarters. Sabi niya gano'n. Di punta tayo dun sa center. Sabi niya gano'n. Ay, sa headquarters. Punta na lang tayo, mag-proceed tayo dun. Hindi kami pupunta. Hindi, yung sabi nakalagay kasi doon CEO, hindi naman kami CEO. Parang gano'n. So, that's CEO. Tapos hindi namin alam kung anong CEO. And then, ano ba yung CEO? Parang gano'n. Chosen one, ate chosen one, parang gano'n. Chosen one, di lalang hindi kami chosen one. Parang gano'n. So, gano'n. Hindi lalang hindi kami chosen one, parang gano'n. Ganun yung natin. So, yun. Tapos, sabi niya, hindi ate, di ba, naniniwala naman kay true parents. Oo, o di, naniniwala kay true parents, di ba? And then, tatawag dito, and you believe in the divine principle and teaching. Sabi niya, oo, di chosen one din kayo, gano'n. So, talaga, parang tuwa kami, parang kami mga bata, alam mo ni Eva, tuwa kami, sigulin na tayo. Pero mga ganon. So, as parang, kaya ako sinasabi sa inyo yung na yon, it has something to do also with artistic connection, Parang kasing sinasabi na, as new members, when we, tapos marami, boy CEO, diba? Ano ba yung chosen one? Pwede rin natin kasing sabihin yun sa mga new members natin, yung mga bago, kasi baby sila eh. Kasi kami, We are already, hindi na kami estudyante noon, nagtatrabaho na nga kami. Ang tawag na sa amin, kami yung unang VIP na intramuros. Parang gano'n. Kasi we are working. Home member kami, and then, tapos, pero tawag namin sa mga brothers and sisters in Intramuros at that time is that ate kuya, tuwa kami tuwagin silang ate kuya. kasi, kasi mas matanda nga sila. I mean, meron din kaming concept na gano'n. They are elder spiritually than us. So, talagang tinatawag namin silang kuya. And then sinabi nila na, sige, tawagin niyo din kami kuya. Ate, tuntuwa kami. So, yun, it's a way of yung artistic connection na yun, na yung tawagin kang CEO as a new member, tawagin ka din chosen one, is it's a big deal for us. So, sa mga bago din natin, sa tingin ko, it's a big deal. Kasi yun yung kasama yung warmth of a family, di ba? Ganun yun yung nawawala sa atin na ngayon. Siguro at that time, ko konti pa tayo, pero ngayon kasi sinasabi natin, masyado na kasi tayong madami, hindi na tayo napapansin. Pero napapansin yung iba sa dami. Pero sa tingin ko, we need to go back to those old days na talagang yung feeling, yung connection ng bawat isa, yung feeling, yung family sa within the center is ma-feel natin. Kaya ito yung palagi ko sinasabi. Hindi ko alam kung ano yung meron doon sa center, pero hindi ko nga alam kung paano linuto yung mga pagkain sa center, pero we prefer yung food sa center dun sa
Mga batcham.
Masarap na patsyam.
Sarap ng pagkain sa center. Tapos kahit na alam ko na, kasi kami din napaka-observant. I mean, I'm naturally observant person, parang gano'n. Alam ko na naghihirap yung center, di ba? Pero kahit paano, kahit na juice lang na nandoon at isang biscuit ang ibibigay nila sa iyo, they try to serve that to you. So ibig sabihin yung talagang yung na kumbaga natutunaw yung puso mo na na they are serving that. Yun yung ganun. Hindi naman yung kung ano yung pinakain sa iyo yung effort, di ba?
Yes.
So yun. Mararamdaman ng visitor yon. So sabihin natin napaka parang ang hirap nung natin, katulad na sinasabi ni Brother Oliver pangalan niya. Yung sa Pasino couple. Sabi na gano'n. Parang nagtataka sila kung itsura ng center natin. Pero ang kailangan, they should know, ma-feel nung bisita natin yung heart dun sa simpleness of our environment. And also the teaching, yun. So, and that is what being predestined by God. Absolutely good, di ba? Yun lang naman yun Absolutely good. Kung tutusin, wala naman tayong we don't have really have the choice na katulad, that's what's Sir Randy is telling us. We don't have that choice not to be good. Kasi whether we like it or not, in the end, we need to be good because we will, unless we will be left behind, and God will never allow us to be left behind. And that's the reason why yun yung sinasabi nila na shameful salvation, no, di ba? We want to become a part of that shameful salvation just because nadamay ka na lang, kumbaga nakisakay ka na lang. So yun yung crude way of saying it. Nakisakay ka na lang kasi nga lahat na ganoon So wala ka ng choice kundi ganun. Nadamay ka na, kumbaga nadamay ka sa agos, so, di ba? Kasi yun na yun Pero mas masarap kasi yung victory na kasali ka dun sa laying ng foundation. So, yun lang po yung pwede kong masabi. Brothers and sisters.
Okay, thank you, Ate
Happy,
Relina. Yes.
happy memories.
Yeah,
Happy memories.
remembering the past.
Yes.
Okay, so how about sino pa? Herwin? I'm still looking for the answer to your question, Jiel. I wanted to get it from the tradition book, the new tradition book of Blessed Families, so that we can make it more clearer.
Okay po. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Herwin?
Yes, uh, destination. I just want to share one point. I mentioned this one during my lecture, but I want to share with you one of my real experience. When since we are talking about 5% portion of responsibility and or predestination, the fulfillment of this one is matters with God and us, right? When I was in America, I'm doing fundraising. Um, One of my experiences, like I was not able to reach my goal, even though I give my best. Really, I give out my best. I approach everybody. I smile, sell stock. These are my items. This is for like that, like this. At the end of the day, I got only $5. And I started to question why is it that even though I did my portion of responsibility, why is it that I was not able to reach my goal? I have that kind of question. Really, I was reflecting that one, and not just not. It doesn't happen just one day. Like I think almost a week. I don't have result. Was not able to reach my goal for sure. And I realized one of my realization. All of my brothers and sisters, they're doing condition every night. And at that time, I was not doing my condition. I'm too confident of what we call we have this predestination. Yeah, and my understanding at that point is that predestination only matters my responsibility, and God just wait like that. But when I came to realize that even though sometimes we have this goal in ourselves, we have this we set plan, but why is it that it doesn't happen? I realized that time when I was in America that I was too selfish. I did things because I think only of reaching external goal. I forgot to pray actually, to be honest, because I'm too confident doing my responsibility. Very excited, but my heart and myself was not focused on God. I became self-centered at that time. So sometimes we are doing our responsibility, right? Even though we have missions, but sometimes we do it and it destroys others as well. We are too selfish thinking about only our own portion of responsibility, but not thinking also of praying to God. God would help me. We are too confident. That is why in the lecture, the person can complete his mission if there is these two factors: the 5% portion of responsibility and God's portion of responsibility. Not just 5% portion of responsibility, not just our responsibility, but also with God. So it's very important that when we gain victory, when we do our portion of responsibility and we gain victory, we have to offer this to Heavenly Parents and true parents. Whatever we are doing, actually, we should always put this and offer this to God. Because really, I was crying and then I, I realized that, oh, I'm too selfish thinking of my external goal and I forgot God. So that's one of my realization. Our thinking before, right, that we have just do our responsibility and God will help us. Yeah, that's true. But when you do our portion of responsibility, don't forget to offer it to God and pray to God. Yeah. Thank you very much. That's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Sherwin. And why I cannot open? I cannot open. Okay, so we have a lot of realization, right? We have a lot of self-realization, and we have a lot of reflections of regarding the topic. But the most important is how we can really do it, how we can really practice it in our daily life. Okay? No matter what, no matter we memorize the predestination or the content of the predestination, but what matters most is, are we can we practice it? Can we make it as part of our life? Every minute, every seconds, it is a way for us to follow God's predestined way and not following my own way. Okay, and if we are really that if we really desperately wanted to do it, okay, spirit world will always there to help us. Do you think so? Most especially
Yes po.
nowadays that the spirit world is already open, because true Father already opened the gate for the spirit world to help us in terms of our fulfilling our portion of responsibility. I remember when I think that was 1997, before the blessing of 1997. Okay. Actually, before the blessing, before I joined the blessing, I have that experience of uh, how do you call it? Rebelling against God. Okay. That's before the blessing. Before I applied for the blessing 1997. And during that time, that is just after my brother died, because my brother died 1996. 12 days before his graduation, uh, he was shot dead doing his thesis in Bicol. Okay. And he is graduating in UP Diliman during the time. 12 days before his graduation, he was shot dead. And during the time, I'm planning to meet him and then letting him attend a seminar in Antipolo. before that. But instead of meeting him alive, I went to Bicol and then hinukay namin siya. Kaya parang during the time talagang sabi ko, totoo ba si God? But I was so shocked because during those times that I'm questioning the presence of God, that's the time that he always come to me and said, why you are doing that? Who are you to do that? Okay. That's why even now, every time I'm struggling to do my mission, I'm struggling to give lecture, or sometimes I have that mind that nakakapagod naman, parang wala naman akong nare-raise sa mga linelecturean ko. Wala akong nagiging result. Pag mapapikit ako pag ganun yung mindset ko, yung tatay ko, yung kapatid ko na namatay, yung panganay namin, na hate niya ang movement, and even yung brother ko na yun na namatay noong 1996, they always come to me and said, "Hoy, gumising ka." Okay. Parang sinasabi nila na, "Wag mo naman kaming saktan. Isipin mo kami." So, my dear brothers and sisters, fulfilling our portion of responsibility, we have the choice of either to do it or not to do it. But what God wanted, true parents wanted, and our ancestors wanted is, instead of neglecting or choosing things that is letting us neglect our portion of responsibility, they always push us that you are our hope, that you are the only hope that we have. So if you will not do it, we'll be left behind as well. Aju? So it's really important that we have to, just like what you have said, predestination is really a great awakening for us. How important that when we make choices, okay, we have to always think of God, true parents, our ancestors, and our lineage. So that we'll, instead of choosing the wrong path, at least we will be guided to choose the right path. And in order for us to do that, we needed to pray. We needed to set a condition. We needed to make ourselves really be prepared. Aju? That's why it's really important that we have to always open our heart, open our mind, not towards Satan, but most especially towards God. Ang sagot ko dun sa isa sa mga sagot ko dun sa practical na tinatanong ko kanina is like what I received as a challenge when I started to work in BPO. Sabi ng mga office mate ko noon, mga teammates ko, Randy, kung gusto mong magtagal dito, kailangan mong gumamit ng marijuana. Tapos pagka nagti-team building kami, lahat sila humihitit ng marijuana. Sabi sa akin, bakit wala ka man lang pakisama? Sabi ko sa kanila, if you wanted to be na makisama, okay, just respect me who I am because I am respecting kung ano man ginagawa niyo. I thought before is they will push me. Pero I nagulat ako na every time na day off namin, nandoon sila lahat sa boarding house ko. Tapos binubuksan lahat ng gamit ko hanggang nabuksan nila yung divine principle. And then binabasa na yung DP, sabi niya, eto palang dahilan. Okay? So, in a simple way, kung ano yung common na nakikita natin na ginagawa sa environment natin that is not in accordance towards God's purpose and God's plan. Because sabi nga natin, sa labas, abnormal lahat ng ginagawa ng tao sa labas. Tama ba?
Tama po.
Pero sa mind sa labas, tayo yung abnormal. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Pero kung titignan natin, we are really the normal people. But people outside is abnormal. That's why they needed us. They needed the principle so that they will be cured to become normal. So, So what I'm saying, brothers and sisters, is yeah, now that we already received the principle, we know the principle, the only thing that we can do is to become abnormal in front of the people, but we should be proud to become normal in front of God. So I hope that with that we can have a common ano yan? Common path together, and we can really fulfill our portion of responsibility so that God will not suffer anymore. True parents will not suffer anymore. Our next generation will not suffer anymore, and we can end the tradition of Satan to be passed from one generation to another. So I hope with that po, we can really establish and we can work together and we can really determine ourselves to say na, God, true parents, don't worry. Nandito ako. Okay? So, I think we already passed 3 minutes past 10 o'clock, and I hope na this day is really a fruitful day wherein we have learned a lot together. Jel, with regards to your question, can you please send to me your email address so that I can send you the because I'm trying to cut the one that is in the tradition of blessed family, but it's not. I was not able to use my laptop in opening it. So just send me your email so that I can send you the whole tradition book and you can read it from there. That is with regards to the prayer. Jill is asking regarding the prayer. And there is a new form of prayer that for blessed family, we have to pray in our own name. Okay. But there is also a pronouncement of True Father before that even though you're not yet blessed, you have to, because True Father already bestowed to us our portion of responsibility, we can pray in our own name. But in the tradition of blessed family is it talks more about the blessed, because after you will say I pray this in my name and then bless central family. Okay. But the one that's being suggested in in tradition book of blessed family, if you're still single, you can still use the in true parents name. Okay, but I will be sending you. Can you please send me the you can PM me, Jill. My messenger is just look for Randy Ame, and you can see cute children with my wife also, very cute, just like my children. Okay, so you can just add me and then I will send you the whole tradition book. Okay.
Okay, po. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so brothers and sisters, we needed to. I know you wanted to share more, but the time is not allowing us. So for this one, to end our session, anybody who wanted to volunteer to pray? Hirap talaga magano, no?
Wala pa rin lugar, kuya.
Wala. Volunteer or appointed volunteer? Herwin, sinong gusto mo mag-pray, Herwin? Total, ikaw nag-lecture eh.
Wow.
Ate Maricel.
Hi, Maricel. Nasa meeting pa kaya?
Nasa meeting ba?
Parang nasa meeting pa. Another?
Si Kuya, si Ate Ariel.
Okay, Ariel. Please do the prayer.
Okay, let us put ourselves in the loving presence of our Lord. Um, uh, we would like to thank you, Heavenly Parent and True Parents, for being with us tonight, for giving us um, your words of wisdom, and for giving us our lecturers who imparted your words with us. We would like to ask for your guidance in our daily lives, for us to be able to truly be your children. Um, thank you for everything, and please guide us always. Um, Again, um, thank you, and thank you very much again for this day. So for this, I pray in true parents' name. Aju.
Ju. Okay, so thank you very much, brothers and sisters, and thank you for your effort. And we are very grateful for the sharing that we have, and I've learned a lot from all of you. Magandang gabi po.